I think it's already 7 p.m., Madhur. Just give me a reaction if you're live on this. Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. On the behalf of Engineer Hub, I'm Kunal Nivas. Heartily welcomes you all in the session. And we are back with another episode of our Weekend with Us series. And guess what? This time we are having our speaker from Microsoft, Ms. Prashasti Baranwal. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank the Decimal for conducting and organizing such kind of wonderful and informative sessions for our engineers at totally free of cost. And Decimal is an experience investment app where you can start your investment journey with rupees one. And it's a Gen Z way of investing. Okay, guys. So if you want to start your investment journey, if you're about thinking to start your investment, you can check out the link in the given description box. You can find that link in live chat box always also. So okay, so let's come to the session. Our Here we are with our speaker Prashasti Banwal. First of all, thank you so much for joining this session, giving your valuable time for our engineers for sharing your valuable experiences. So as we have mentioned that in this session we are going to explore about what are the tips and the practices that can lead you from a good developer to a better developer. Okay. So like this is from my side. So Prashasti, will you let know about yourself to our audiences a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Kavar. Thanks for inviting me here. Hello, everyone. My name is Prashasti. I am a software developer at Microsoft. I completed my graduation in 2020 from Vellore Institute of Technology and then joined Microsoft as an intern. I interned twice at Microsoft, first as a 2 month intern and then as a 6 month intern. And then finally joined as a full time employee in 2021. I have worked on multiple products within Microsoft, had a team switch. I worked on Dynamics 365 CRM. I worked on Excel as a developer. In my 2 year journey, I have come across various tips where various people from whom I have learned, and I'm very happy to share my learnings with all of you. And let us all get together on this journey on becoming better every single day. Me learning along with you.
Okay, that's quite impressive. Okay, so before get started anything further, will you please give a brief intro about the web development, what actually it is, and what are the responsibilities that are associated with this domain?
Sure, cover. So, web development, as we all know, is simply said anything related to the web, the internet,
Yeah.
the website development comes under web development. Uh, Currently, if in today's context we see a lot of students, they are very much interested in exploring the area of web development. They start with HTML, CSS, which forms the base of web development, followed by more more interactive or more complex languages like JavaScript, going further deep into React, and these languages that form the web development content in total. The languages, the entire architecture that actually helps create websites or help meet clients' needs using these languages. So, web development is a very exciting area or a journey that a lot of students like to take because they're able to add value to the globe, to the world by using their development skills and creating something that will actually be useful for the end users. They'll be able to interact, they'll be able to meet their needs through the websites. So it's a very uniquely, I would say, interesting as well as useful area to deep dive into with a lot of scope going forward.
Okay, that's very good. So, okay, I think it's going to be off topic, but I think there are some more domains uh, except this web development. I mean, there are more areas in which engineer or student can apply for. Like there are cloud computing, Android development, iOS development. But as the web development is currently in trend, and there are lots of job openings in the market. So how do you think, how do you see this kind of thing in current scenario? Like if someone has to identify the area in which he or she particularly belongs. Like we have talked about previously about the finding your interest. So what's your point of view on identify such kind of areas?
Right, Kuvar. For answering that question, maybe I'll like to present my screen for starting the exploring journey, and maybe I have a brief agenda, so I'll start those points with a few identification tips and how you can grow your journey. Let me quickly share my screen, and
Yeah,
please confirm if you're able to see the screen.
yeah, sure.
Can you please confirm if my screen is visible?
Uh, yeah, it's visible now perfectly.
All right. All right. So, Kuvar, starting with, I'll come to the question that you asked. That will be the very first topic that we'll be covering. But just to give a very brief agenda for the
Yeah,
audience for today's session, I'm going to cover it in five different subtopics. That is, exploring your needs, your demands, and how you would take your web development or in general any kind of software development journey forward, and then strategizing it into finding a particular strategy or approach that works best for you, using networking as a very fruitful tool to help you grow better in your journey, and then adding value to the world, to the globe, and adding value to others lives to make a better impact. And finally, I'll share a few best practices that I have learned over the years, and I hope that helps you as well. So the first thing is exploring. As Kuvar just asked, what are we know that web development is just
yeah,
one single part of the ocean, right? There's so many other areas, so many
areas,
different
development
topics,
areas.
right? There's machine learning, there's blockchain, there is Android development, there is data analytics. There's so many of these. So the very first thing that as a software developer, as an engineer, that we want to do is to identify what all is there. The very first step, I'm not asking you to know anything in deep or detail, like you should know how to code in different languages. You should at least be aware of what is present. And it's, trust me, there are so many different domains that you won't be able to even touch on each one of them. But at the very least, do try to explore as much as possible. Do try to know how different domains work, how many different domains are out there, how many different subjects are taught, how many different topics are there to explore. At the very least, first thing that I want you to do is identify the various topics and areas that exist. At least if you are a student, a new student, in your first year, second year, this is a very good time to do this. If you have joined in as a software developer, as a software engineering student, and you are not much aware of many areas except maybe web development, you are aware of, there's something called front end engineering, back end engineering. Try to find what sub areas these domains have, and at least identify what all topics can be covered. Post you are done identifying what areas are there, like now okay, there is an area called web development, there's an area called Android, there's an area called cloud computing, there's an area called security. Now identify what are the scope of each of these areas. try finding Try finding how each of these areas are impacting the world, how much of a future they have. Are you looking into technology that is going to go dead within the next few months or a few years? Or are you looking at something that has a future that can go beyond um, a few many years? You can't say for sure which technology is going to stay for a very long time, because technologies change at such a massive pace that it's very difficult to keep hold at expertise at one particular thing. But you should at least have a basic knowledge of what areas do exist, how much of a scope or focus those areas have. For a very simple example, you're very interested in, say, web development, and you think that there is this um, technology related to JavaScript that you're very interested, that you think would be very crucial in the next coming few years. That React is one such technology that has taken huge um, adoption by a lot of companies. A lot of projects now in the industry are getting migrated to React, and has seen a lot of um, adoption, which would help you identify that, okay, this is a topic that I might want to uh, add to my list of areas that have good scope, and so on. At least start with creating a list of topics that you are aware of. Start with knowing how much scope all of those areas have. And then the third thing that you have to do is identify your interest or your passion about those areas. Highly possible that there could be a technology. Say, for example, we had seen a very huge ups and downs, a very huge, I would say, not downs, I would say a very huge up in the blockchain technology with the
Yeah.
coming of the cryptocurrencies, right? We saw a very good trend of cryptocurrencies. A lot of you even might have started investing in those. If not, you know that as a developer, it could be a very good domain to start working in because it has a lot of scope. But what if you're not interested? You do not have to uh, go for it just because it has a very good scope. Having a good scope would definitely be profitable, but at least find your best interest, something that really interests you, excites you, makes you feel challenged enough to wake up for a long time at night and work on those projects. I personally, when I started in college, I got this opportunity to work with a professor on one of the Android development projects. I was not, I did not have any subject with Android development, but somehow I got really interested in app development, and I participated in a few competitions in which I realized this, even though is not a part of my current curriculum, interests me more than anything else, and I would want to pursue this further. So I started working on a few projects on the side in Android development, and that's anything that interests you will always get you to a more solid profile building at the next stage. So that's the third thing that I want you to do. Identify your passion, what technology actually excites you the most. In terms of web development, try to see what different languages are there, what different languages can actually create. Go ahead and see. You might have a list of your favorite websites. Go ahead and check out what those websites uh, are built upon. Maybe some basic knowledge, what JavaScript they have. You just use some inspect elements and go ahead and try finding a few things about what goes best with the industry and what goes best with your passion as well.
Okay. So I think bottom of the line is finding your interest will work for you with but with satisfaction. If you are going with a train or technology, it will work for you. If you work hard, obviously, if you put effort in that, it will work for you. But if you're working with your area of interest, with your passion, I think it will work you with satisfaction. That will more satisfy you. And
True, absolutely.
as as the point that you have mentioned, finding those area of technology that has a great or large impact on the current scenario or in the upcoming scenario, right?
Yes,
Okay, that's great.
absolutely.
Okay, so like as
Going
you have
forward, yes,
yeah,
please.
so as you have mentioned about the areas and topics like identification of all this. So like if someone is okay confirmed with a particular technology, particular domain, or like if someone is confirmed that he has to go with the Android development or web development. So what after the selection of the criteria of that domain, what should be his approach? Like there are lots of opportunities available over internet, but still, if you are hearing from you, if you are hearing from a Microsoft engineer at Microsoft, obviously we have some expectation that we will hear some efficient or some useful tricks. So what's your point of view on this?
Right, great cover. So, for the audience, I would say if you are going with a plan that works best, so let's start with the exploration. Once you're done with the exploration, the next uh, step that I would say would be strategizing. You're now aware what areas exist, what is the scope of each of those areas, what are your interests, what helps you the most. Now try to form a strategy or a plan of how you would be going ahead with your learning journey and your developer being a developer path. How do you want to take it forward for your learning journey? This is something that I heard from one of a senior leaders at Microsoft who told in one of his talks. How do you want to take your approach is totally up to you, but you have these two options, very good options that you would definitely want to explore. First, even in if you are into DSA, data structure and algorithm, for searching there are these depth first search and breadth first search approaches. You can use the same approaches in your learning path. How does it work? Breadth first would be first exploring various different domains, doing projects in different areas. For example, within web development, you might want to do a project in React, and then you might want to switch to a project in Angular, and then you might want to switch to a project with a really good bootstrap uh, designing, and then you want to try a lot of different things. And then once you have actually implemented few small projects and you know what each of these areas look like, then you want to, then whatever interests you the most, you go into the depth of that particular domain, and you make yourself an expert in that area. For example, you really loved React and you want to become an expert in React. You have already explored your different domains, and whenever you grow up at a senior level, then you want to create your expertise in React. That could be one approach. That is the breadth first. Explore all the different domains, whatever interests you the most. Start creating an expertise in that particular area. Another approach that you might want to try is a depth first approach, in which you might, for example, something that happens with a lot of students. You get hired in a company. That company asks you to work in a particular project. That project might be oriented to, say for example, AngularJS, and you have been working in Angular in that particular project for like a couple of years. You have good enough knowledge there. Now you have covered a, a certain depth within that particular domain, and then later on you want to uh, explore different domains and find the breadth of what other domains are. This is different from identifying areas. Identifying doesn't mean um, implementation or you know actually working on those projects. Identifying is only being aware that such different domains does exist. That knowledge should be there from the very beginning. That should be the first step. But once you have that, actually going inside and developing and working on projects within a particular domain, you can choose an approach. You can either go with first working on various different projects and then identifying one particular area that you want to work in and then going deep into it. Or you can start with whatever your first project that you found. If you think that itself is very interesting and you first want to grow a little more into that one particular area, and then go explore around the different domains, that's also totally fine. So the approach totally works differently for different people. It's totally up to you, whatever approach you choose. But my recommendation would be to definitely explore more than one area. You can choose to become a subject matter expert going forward in the future in one particular subject, but do definitely try out a lot of different domains to know where your passion actually lies. Second thing would be, once you have identified your approach and once you have identified what excites you the most, second thing that I would suggest would be to create a plan of action. Say, for example, you are really interested in React, and you started working with React JS, and you have created a few projects in college. What next? You have to create a plan. What next? If you are a student, maybe you want to find of if you're just a beginner and you have just identified the topic, maybe you want to start with a few courses, a few basic projects in that particular area. If you have already crossed that stage, if you're already done with a few projects and courses, maybe you want to opt out for you want to reach out to people for internships, maybe find a few startups that are using that tech stack and reach out to them for internships in that particular area that interests you. If not, maybe go for bigger projects, larger projects, and do not limit yourself on the fact that you are not getting projects. If you want to learn, just start whatever um, comes to your mind. Open source community is the best for doing so. You'll find a lot of projects on GitHub that you might want to contribute to that will help you learn a lot. The third thing would be to articulate what are the business values that you are adding and what are the customer needs that you are fulfilling. You know how your learning path has been paved. Now it's not just about you, it's not just about you learning. When you're developing a web project, you're doing it for a customer or for a client, so it has to focus on that customer or client's needs and has to generate some business value if you're doing it for some company or for some industry. So write down whatever um, benefit your project could make or what difference your project could make, and make sure to communicate that well to both your company, your clients, or if you are doing it on a solo project or something that you own yourself, then to your audience, to your customers well enough so that the impact that you create gets addressed by the end users.
Okay, that's quite impressive. So, like as you mentioned about these two approaches for learning, the breadth and versus depth. Okay. We think this was a sufficient for our audience to know more about the learning approaches that he or she can follow in her journey. Okay, so let's come to your experience. Like as far as you've experienced in Microsoft, that as you've told us that you got internship twice in Microsoft. Am I right? Yeah.
Right.
And after that, you worked in some projects under Microsoft. So, what was your experience regarding all this? Obviously,
Right.
there will be some hurdles, some obstacles. So, how did you overcome those hurdles? Like, how was your overall experience regarding all this?
Right. So I joined Microsoft as a 2 month intern after completing my third year of college in 2019. I joined in, and as you all know, a lot of times the teams that you join, the projects that you get, uh, given that you are a new joinee or a new college hire, you might get added to different projects, different groups. And as students, we do not have so much insights about how does an industry or real time projects actually work. It's quite different from how the college projects work. So when I joined as an intern during my 2 month internship, we were given a project related to we were put in a team related to Dynamics 365 customer relationship management software of Microsoft, CRM. And I had absolutely no clue what CRM even stands for. At that point of time, I had no clue. I had no clue about the languages that we were going to work in. It was so we started with TypeScript. Um, it is the typed format of JavaScript, and it is also a good language that you might want to explore. So that was the first project that I got, and having no clue about literally anything made me very overwhelmed. I was not sure how to take this, but I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of support from my manager, my seniors, other senior engineers, and they asked me to plan things out. From the very beginning, we are asked to, we have sprint plannings or different kind of planning approaches where we plan out our project. Maybe I'll talk more about that in coming slides as well. But that is something in my experience that helped me a lot, was to finding my strategies, finding my plans that work best for me. They told everyone has a different learning curve, everyone has a different journey. Do not compare yourselves with others, and always uh, do remember that one thing, that you're learning out of your 100%, whatever you have learned so far, you're learning 70% of it comes from implementation, 20% from uh, learning from others, and only 10% comes from what you have uh, learned theoretically or from books or online. Most of it comes when you are actually implementing it, and the best of it is to fail fast. So when you experiment, you start working on something, it's okay to fail, it's okay to do something wrong, but what's more important is that you learn from it and you keep going, keep correcting, keep learning from others, and keep going forward.
Okay,
So yeah,
that's
that was a bit from my experience.
okay. Okay, that's good. So, like, for let's come to our the theme for the purpose that our audience has gathered over was to end this session. Like, what are those some tips and practices that one can follow in our development journey from a good developer to a better developer? Because most of the time, what we used to do, directly we jump into the code portion without having any planning or deciding something that, as you have mentioned previously, previously. So, what's your perspective on this? Like, what are those practices and tips regarding for the betterment of a developer?
Sure. So the very first thing, and one of the very important practices before I come to implementing any other practice, would be networking, because that is going to help. This is not just for web development, this is for any kind of being any kind of software developer, or not just software development. This actually works for any other stream as well. But I thought this is equally important to be put in as a single slide. So I added
Okay,
a point. I made sure to make it a point that definitely start networking from the very initial stage. It's, you don't have to wait till, maybe if you're in college, you don't have to wait till the end of college, you don't have to wait till the finishing of any project, you don't have to wait for literally anything. uh, if you know that networking is important, at the very same moment start using this one particular tool uh, of networking to grow yourself. A very first thing, that if possible, find a mentor. You can definitely reach out to people. A lot of people are willing to help across the IT corporate world. A lot of people are willing to give you advice or give you guidance whenever you need. So do try finding a mentor. Create an online portfolio that could be visible to others. Establish a good professional profile on LinkedIn. uh, LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. Make as much use of it as possible. It can help you reach different people, it can help a lot of other people reach you when they need expertise that you own. So it would help you reach a lot of projects, a lot of internships, a lot of different latest updates on particular technologies, to make good use of it. If possible, do try to generate some quality content as well, because provide contributing back to the society always gives you back a lot of uh, learning. Reach out to like-minded people who are equally interested in web development or any other area or domain that you are interested in. Do try to interact in different forums and try to connect with your network very often, making sure that you have enough global visibility. Do not restrict yourself to your particular nation or college or school. Make sure that you have global visibility across the entire planet, so that you are uh, you know people know you, and that would help you learn from them, help them learn from you, and that would be great for your journey. Next thing would be adding value. Whatever you do, whatever you learn, if you're not adding value to the world, that is just restricted to you and not really giving back to the world. So the very first thing that you have to make sure is to keep your customer first. If you are creating a website, you are whatever audience you are targeting, they have to be benefited the very first. So if whatever uh, maybe you think that a feature would be really good, but if you're not sure, if you're not backed up by enough customer research, if you're not sure that a lot of customers would actually benefit from that particular feature, it would be a good suggestion to go ahead and take feedback from customers, know what their needs are, put them first while creating or while planning your project out. Second would be project planning. Always try to make sure that you have sufficiently good planned out agendas, and you have a given timeline that you have to finish your project in, or you have a given timeline where you have to complete your design stage, your development stage, and then you have your testing, your bug fixing. A lot of different um, blockers come in between. You have kept some buffer time for that. Do keep all these things already planned beforehand. That will help you a lot while creating such projects. The third thing would be involvement in different web development community discussions. You'll get to learn a lot from these communities. The various such communities that you can check. Stack Overflow works best. They have an amazing members all over the world who discuss on different problems, different ideas, and it will help you a lot. Bytes is another such community that you can join to have such discussions on latest trends, and help you go better in learning more about different things. GitHub is you all must be aware, a very good open source community is there on GitHub that can help you grow a lot. Lead Code, Code Project, all these platforms where you code have, ahead of each question you will see there is a discussions tab, a community tab where you can actually see what other people have to say about the same question. So trying to learn from the community what approaches they have, what other paths they have, will also help a lot to add value back to the community, and to add value to the globe through making your project a better place. Finally, few best practices would be, the very first thing that would help you stand out of the crowd is to do your research. Ever have a project, um, for example, you recently joined a company, you have been given a project, you have you probably are waiting on a few resources to be provided by your seniors or something. But if you have any idea about what's the tech stack, at least start with your research. Start with what are the different possible topics that would come ahead, and do start searching online to help identify the latest articles or latest updates on those topics. Do your research well enough before starting a project. Try the experiment and fail fast approach. Whatever new project you have got, whatever, even in college, if you are trying out a new technology, do give it a try. Do implement it. It's okay to fail, it's okay to go wrong. Fail fast, re-experiment, retry, go ahead and keep struggling, keep striving till you reach the target uh, that you want to achieve. Always keep yourself unblocked. You It's not a right practice to stay saying that I do not know what to do next from here, or I'm waiting for someone else to help me here, or I have asked for some help or for some resource, and I'm just waiting for them. Reach out to people, refer to different resources. Strive hard to keep yourself unblocked all the time. Do not waste your time in waiting on something. Do parallel projects if required, or start proactively reaching out to people to make sure that you are unblocked. Do make sure that you inculcate a growth mindset to make sure that you are willing to learn something new from every single failure you had, every single uh, challenges that you faced, even from others' mistake or others' learning, others' success. You had something to learn. Always have that growth mindset, that and learn something new from uh, every single person you meet and every single new project that you work in, and that will take you a long way. Last but not the least, and the very, very important one, would be to gather feedback. Always and always ask for feedback from all the people around you. You worked on a very tiny project, maybe something as simple as, just creating a login page in your web development, maybe a college project, something. Ask for feedback. Ask for how can I make it better. How could I have, changed my approach. Ask from your professors, from your friends, from people who might be using such um, tools in real life. Ask for feedback, implement those feedbacks, and always make sure that the feedback loop is complete. Take feedback, implement it, ask for feedback again. That is going to help you in the long run in a very, very good fashion. That was all from my side. Thank you all. Kuvar,
Yes,
thanks.
sorry for the internet issue. Just let me fix my camera. Yes, sorry, Prasasti. I'm genuinely very sorry for the internet issue. Uh,
No
did I miss
worries,
out?
Kuvar.
Okay. So I think all the practices, actually, your audio was coming that you have discussed about the practices and the tips that you have shared. Okay. So, Madhur, any questions in the live chat, or we just wrap up this session?
Yeah, not related to the topic, but we have one question regarding the perks in the Microsoft. They want to know that.
I think that's the expected question.
Yeah.
So, would you like to answer this question, ma'am?
I would say there are a lot of perks for sure. If you're willing to join us at Microsoft, please do reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to different people on LinkedIn. We can help check your profile, and I can definitely tell one thing, that we do have a lot of perks, and as a company, it's a great place to work at.
Yeah, I think it has a very good culture. I have
It
listened to
does.
all
It
my
does.
seniors. So yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So thank you for
absolutely.
all. Yeah, thank you for all the information that you've shared, the experiences that you've shared with us. It not help only the engineers who are watching this, will be upcoming engineers who is in first year. And yes, I would like to thank you for pointing out that interest area, like finding your interest, because that's the part that mostly we used to miss this. Like we are hearing the competitive programming DSA, like from the past 1 year, I mean previously 1 year, people were engaged in the competitive programming. But nowadays they are just doing lead code, lead code, lead code. So they're just following trend, not their passion or their area of interest. So thank you for pointing out this field, and thanks again for sharing your time, for giving your valuable time to our engineers. Yeah, thank you for joining the session.
Thank you, Kaur. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me here.
yeah, my pleasure. Okay, so you may leave now. Mother, please end the session.